I'm just gonna dive right into the elephant in the room when it comes to Wild Hearts. I think, like many of you, you're gonna be playing this on an Xbox Series S, not the more powerful consoles that are out there. And man, we have to talk about the performance because this one's kind of rough, not gonna lie. As a Monster Hunter fan myself, when Wild Hearts was announced, I was super stoked for it. Monster Hunter needs some competition because it's better for everybody. When I saw there was a 10-hour free trial, I immediately downloaded the game to give it a shot. Now, to be fair, I have been jumping between Hogwarts Legacy, again on my Series S, which is phenomenally gorgeous, and Monster Hunter Rise, which is also a very well-run game for what it is. So when I dove in and saw this, what you're looking at on screen here, I was kind of perplexed. I was seeing a lot of different reviewers on social media praising the game. And don't get me wrong, this game does do quite a few things correctly, and we'll talk about those in a bit. But man, between the really strange snow particle effects in this game to the muddy graphics as a whole, I'm kind of just shocked that this is the state that this game is in right now, and it's releasing tomorrow. I mean, look at the textures on this wall, for instance. I was literally just running at the screen hoping that the game would load up some higher res textures, and it never happened. And you would think, by the way, for a climbing wall where you know players are going to be interacting with it, at least make it look halfway decent. Yeah, it's just so disappointing how rough the graphics are. But, speaking of that, let's try and make a rough transition into some positivity. The building mechanics. I think there's actually a lot here. Now, I will say, I think introducing it inside that cave was a bad idea, because you're already in a dark lit area, and because there is a little bit of a clunkiness to figuring out how to run up the boxes at first, it wasn't the best introduction. It's once you actually get out into the open world that you really start seeing the possibilities that these gameplay features unlock. Running up these towers that you make and jumping towards the enemy and setting off different aerial attacks is actually a really fun and thrilling experience. On top of that, some of the smaller bosses, you can actually use this as a blockade so that when they charge you, they actually knock themselves over. Hey Monster Hunter, I'm gonna need you to adapt this into your franchise immediately. Thank you. And by the way, you're probably noticing it right now. The graphics here aren't that bad. They're actually quite good and colorful. And that happens. This game really is a mix and match of highs and lows when it comes to graphics and gameplay. I think it's the inconsistency that really is striking, because when the graphics are not on, man, do you notice it. When you are not out on a hunt, you are back at your camp. Like with a lot of the other things, your camp's a bit janky as well. You can freely build things where you want. And so because of that, the character animations and NPCs in your camp get stuck on other parts of the map, like what happened to me here with my blacksmith table. And this is important to know because this is where I do a lot of my upgrading of armor and weapons. There are fewer weapons available in this game than in Monster Hunter Rise, but with the ability to build, I think that probably counterbalances it for most people, but that's my thoughts early on so far, so we'll see. As far as upgrading weapons and armor, if you've played Monster Hunter, you kind of get the concept here. It seems to basically work in the same way, so I don't have any complaints here. I'll just be curious to see as the game progresses what the material farming requirements are going to be, because I have heard from some people they get pretty serious in this one. Which, depending on what kind of player you are, could be a good thing or a bad thing. But early on, there's been no issues from my end. And then finally, just running through all of the other quick points I wanted to hit. Multiplayer seems to work at just the push of a button. I had no issues with it. I actually don't know how to join other people's games, but I did have people join mine no problem for one of the boss fights. As far as story goes, if you're anything like me, I really could care less about the story. I just want to see the next set of monsters to hunt. And let me tell you, with where I'm at, this giant pig boss thing is truly impressive and frightening on screen, which is just exciting me to see what other kind of monsters are within this game. I say all this and I made this video to suggest this. Really take advantage of the trial period for this game. I don't like that this is what I'm talking about, but the state of this game on the Series S needs to have a light shined upon it. And with that, I would love to hear from all of you. Are you guys even having an issue? Do you care about the graphical issues here? And at the end of the day, hopefully, like this video, all of these issues are short-lived because they get patched. So until next time, happy hunting.